Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen, good morning in London. It's 10 o'clock. Good morning, South Africa, Johannesburg. And it's 11 o'clock at the moment. How are you in South Africa?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? I'm good, and yourself?
Great and grateful. My name is Dr. Patrick Senge. I'm the author of Les Brown Changed Our Lives. And today I'll be talking to Rich Shokane, who is one of the co-authors of this great book. He'll be sharing his story on how his life changed. He'll be sharing his journey with you to inspire you so that you can create your greatest life. So, Rich, could you tell us about you?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Patrick, and good morning to the listeners and the viewers in England and all over the world. My name is Musha Richard Shokane. I was raised and born in South Africa. I'm an English teacher by profession, an author, a speaker, and I was raised by a single parent who couldn't afford to even buy herself a house, so she rented a shack somewhere in Johannesburg, and that, I believe, made me to become who I am today.
Wow, that is great. So you were born in South Africa, raised in South Africa by a parent who you said struggled to make a living.
Yes, yes. She couldn't even afford to buy herself a house because she never had any formal education.
Well, we'll be coming back to that story because I think it's a very interesting story for our viewers this morning. But before that, what do you do now? What do you do day to day?
At the moment, what I'm doing is I'm a speaker. I'm a motivational speaker, and also I speak on finance. I've written 2 books. The first one is The Science of Entrepreneurship, which talks to the mindset of an entrepreneur. As you may know, that being an entrepreneur is not just owning the business, but it's also being the business, living and being in everyday doings of the business. And also the New Age Millionaires, which also talks about network marketing and talks about the company that I'm with at the moment, which is called Alliance in Motion Global, which resonates with me and with what I love doing at the moment.
Oh, that is brilliant. That's inspiring. So you write, you teach, you speak. Most of us at this moment in time, we're getting inspired already because what happens are most people, they'll just focus on only one thing. And then they start, because they believe they don't have the time to be able to do those things you are doing at the moment. How do you manage the time? How do you get all that time to be able to write, speak, and as well teach as a profession?
I think you must have passion for it. Once you have passion for what you love, you won't even need an alarm to wake up in the morning. Once you have the thing in your heart, you just do it. You don't care what time is it. You just go in it and do it. As long as you love it, as long as it's your niche, then you won't need an alarm to wake up in the morning.
So in other words, within you there's fire, within you there's pressure that pushes you to do what you do, and it doesn't matter when.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow. So at the very beginning, you talked about your earlier life, and I'm sure in life you've gone through a lot of struggles, challenges, problems. Could you share some of those challenges or struggles with our viewers today so that they're able to see how far you've come from and possibly be inspired by your life?
Thank you. Now, well, I used to walk about 12 to 13 kilometers going to school. I believe it was Nelson Mandela who said that education is a powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. And I also believe that if you press on, nothing can take the place of persistence. Talent only will not. I believe that the world is full of unsuccessful people with talent. Genius also will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education alone educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. I believe that if you work hard to what you want, if you put your mind into it, and you will definitely get whatever you want. I was working in a township in South Africa, and I met a friend who was a classmate of mine, and he told me that he has given up. He doesn't have hope anymore. So I asked him, what does he do? He said he works for a retail store, and he says to me he doesn't have hope anymore. I said to him, hey, if you say you don't have hope anymore, you are dishonoring Mandela, who stayed in jail for 27 years. The only thing that kept him in jail for 27 years was hope. You are dishonoring the African Americans who were taken to America as slaves in chains. But today, they are most richest people on earth. Most of them look at Jay-Z and all the other guys who are making things happen. Obama, who became the president of America. If you are saying there's no hope, you are dishonoring the Syrians who are crossing the Mediterranean Sea, coming to Europe, looking for the green pastures. And I told him, there is hope. There is hope. We are in this for the last breath. There is no time for us to give up. There's no time for us to look at the circumstance and succumb to the circumstance. We are the people of hope. And when I spoke to him, he kept quiet for a second. And I told him, you know what? As long as you are alive, as long as you are still breathing, there is greatness. God has something bigger in store for you. And I also made an example that when there's a major accident on the road, what the paramedics do, the first thing that they do is they check for your pulse. They check if you're still breathing. And as long as you're still breathing, then the doctors can perform miracles. The doctors can heal you. The doctors can help you to get back to who you were before. But giving up is not the solution. So yes, I was raised in those difficult situations, but I told myself that this might be my circumstance at the moment. It might be my present, but it's not my future. What I'm seeing now is not going to be the story for the rest of my life. Yes, my mom doesn't have formal education. Yes, she doesn't have a job at the moment, but I will change that. And I managed to go to one of the prestigious universities in South Africa, Wits University. I got myself a teaching qualification, and the first thing that I did, of course, was to buy my mom a house because she was living in a shack, and that really broke my heart. But the first thing that I did was to buy her a house. But how I bought her a house was I had to leave South Africa and go to work in Saudi Arabia. I had to leave my comfort zone and go and work in Saudi Arabia. I bought her a house, and I even extended the house. Then I moved to Dubai, where I made enough money to buy myself a house. But here's an interesting story, Patrick. What made me to move from South Africa? What happened is, in the first year of working, I bought myself a car, an Audi A4. Which it had been my dream car for a very long time. I bought this car, and after driving the car for about 2 to 3 months, and I started to see that no, this car is actually difficult to maintain. So I wanted to sell the car and buy a smaller car. So I met a gentleman. He's a Nigerian gentleman working in South Africa. I met him, and I asked him if he can help me to sell my car. And yes, he did agree to sell my car. But to make the long story shorter, the gentleman did not sell my car. He took my car. He sold my car, but he never gave me the money. Till today, I don't have the money for that car. And that made me realize that I needed to do something with my life. I needed to stand up and change my life. Therefore, I flew to Saudi Arabia to work and change my life. And that's how I became who I am today. Today, as I'm speaking to you, I managed to buy 2 cars. I managed to buy 2 Mercedes-Benz. And today, as I'm speaking to you, I'm traveling the world, Brunei, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Bahrain, Ethiopia, Uganda, Ghana. I've been traveling the world, and I think at the moment I'm living my life to the fullest. But still, I still believe that the world is still waiting for me. The world is still, I still have much energy to affect the world, to change the world, to bring more change, and to bring more positivity to the world. So I'm not going to stop now. I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep moving until I change a lot of lives.
Thank you very much for sharing your story. That is inspiring. That is great. And just to welcome our viewers, I would like to recognize Dr. Ira Roach. Ira Roach is one of the co-authors as well of this great book. Stella Sheda. Stella Sheda is from Uganda, my countrymate. And
good morning. Good morning.
Watching, I believe she's watching from the United Arab Emirates. There's Herman. Herman as well is another author, and Emeka from Nigeria as well. He will be publishing his story in one of my books, You Changed My Life. So this is a powerful moment for all of us and who are watching now and who are going to watch that. Where there is hope, then everything is possible. Why?
Everything is possible.
Hope does not disappoint. Hope is sure, and that's why we're called to be men and women of hope. That without that hope, then we wouldn't be where we are today. I was told of one of the stories in one of the cities in the United Kingdom, whereby that city was divided more or less into two. One of the areas was very rich, and the other area was very poor. And when these researchers did try to find out why is it that this area is rich and the other area is poor, one of the things they found out that in the area which was rich, it was rich because people had hope. And they were able to work, they were able to push themselves to the limits. And the area where people were poor is because they had lost hope. And you can imagine what loss of hope can do to a person. Someone can end up in self-destructive behavior, drugs, alcohol. Someone can end up in crime because they've lost hope. Someone can even end up taking their own lives because they don't have hope. So the story of hope is very important. That's one of my visions in life, to inspire people to increase the size of their hope so that they're able to lean on that hope and they're not disappointed.
We live on hope, and as long as you believe and you have hope, you can achieve miracles. You can achieve what Bill Gates has achieved. You can achieve what Warren Buffett has achieved, as long as you have hope. Now, I'd like to share a story of what is happening at the moment in South Africa. Mm-hmm. We are fighting for our land, and as much as we have the political freedom, a lot of our African people are still impoverished. They're still living. Most of them do not have houses. They're still living in shacks. Most of them are homeless. Africans are poor. They don't have the land to grow their own plants. So that's a struggle that we are fighting at the moment. And the only thing that we have is hope. We hope that one day the South African government will realize that and give the land back to the rightful owners. And there's this song that we as Africans like to sing. You know, Africans, we like to sing even when we are faced with calamities. We like to sing even when we are faced with problems. During the struggle, day in and day out, we used to sing when the white people at that time used to bomb us, shoot us, but we used to sing. We used to always have the excitement. That was hope. We knew that one day the time will come. After 27 years, we did not know if Mandela was going to come out of jail, but we had hope. We used to go to the street and sing. And this is a song that we are singing at the moment, fighting for land. We are singing,
You going to sing us for us today?
Just for a couple of seconds.
Oh yes, looking forward to that. Thank you.
It says, well, I'm not, I don't have a voice like Adele, but I'll do my best.
Anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Go for it.
It says, Tina Siswe, Esimnyama, Sikalela, Izweletu. Now, what the song is saying that we, the African nation, we are crying for our land.
That song, is it from Sarafina? Because I do remember growing up watching the film Sarafina, and was what was happening down in South Africa, Soweto, I believe. Is that Sarafina song?
It's yes, the song. It is also sang in Sarafina, but it's a song that is sung by every South African, and what the people are saying at the moment, they're saying that they cannot shift the ownership of the land to the rightful owners, because they don't have hope that the Africans will take care of the land. They're always making examples to what happened in Zimbabwe. And I say to them, look here, they don't trust that an African can take care of what belongs to him. They say that we have to sit and watch them enriching themselves, owning about 70% of the land in South Africa. It's in the hands of the minority. Whereas we have 50 million African South Africans living in South Africa. About 30 million are living in impoverished areas, are living in squatter camp. A family of 10, of 15 sharing a small house that could even qualify to be a toilet of a white person in South Africa. And I'm not saying that the white people are all racist. We have beautiful white people in South Africa, but the people who are owning, the minority that is owning the land at the moment in South Africa, are white people. And that's a fact, and that's something that we should work on. And we have hope that one day the land will be equally distributed to everybody who lives in it.
Thank you very much for sharing your story and for making yourself what you're saying. So how is, just to be clear, how is land, the redistribution of land, what do you say is going to be the effect in terms of the vision? What change will it bring to South Africans?
Well, at the moment as I'm speaking to you, there are people who need to build houses, but they don't have land. They cannot afford to buy land. And if you don't have money to buy land, therefore you cannot build. And then what the government came up with the solution of the willing buyer, the willing seller. So who's the willing seller? The willing seller is a person who owns the land. The willing buyer is a person who wants to buy the land. Now the willing buyer doesn't have money to buy the land, and the willing seller doesn't have intention to sell the land. So still, the land is still in the hands of the willing seller who's not willing to sell. And when the government wants to build free houses for the people, the government has to buy the land that is in the hands of the minority. So I believe that when the Africans get the land back and they have, well, not Africans, perhaps the government can own the land. What I'm against is that the minority owning the land, and I think that's not fair in any situation. I believe that if the government can own the land, and perhaps there's going to be an equal distribution of the land to our people.
Thank you very much for sharing. As we did come on this show, and one of the things I would hope to get was to help viewers understand what you do now, the struggles that you faced. And we reach a point whereby we need to reflect on the people that have helped you, the people have helped you to become who you are today. You referred a bit Nelson Mandela. How has Nelson Mandela inspired you to become who you are today?
Now, Nelson Mandela, he literally showed me that persistence, patience, perseverance are really omnipotent. that if you believe and if you fight for what you believe in, nothing can stop you. Even when everything is against you, but as long as you have it in you, the person inside you is more stronger than the person is outside. It was Les Brown who said that if there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do you no harm. And during my journey, during my darkest days in South Africa, when I was depressed, hopeless, and didn't have anywhere to go, remember when you are raised by a single parent who did not really go to school, she doesn't know much about, she doesn't even know Les Brown. Perhaps she can't even speak English. Yes, of course, she can't even speak English. So she doesn't have much to say to me. Her life already, she sees life as her situation is her life, and that's the story that she told herself, that this is how God wants me to live. So I had to listen to a different voice. I had to listen to somebody who's going to speak to my heart, and that was Les Brown. Les Brown, when he says that if you stop fighting for what you don't want will automatically set in. And that went straight inside my heart, and it really shifted my perspective, and it made me to stand up and look at life differently. And I have to say that, first of all, God bless Les Brown, because without him, I wouldn't be who I am today. He's a voice that spoke to me in my sleep, when I was sleeping and I couldn't wake up to face the day. It was very difficult in those days, but when I listened to Les Brown, my life changed immediately. And I am who I am today because of the voice of Les Brown. And I believe that Les Brown's voice is the voice of God. I believe that whatever he says comes directly from God. I believe that he is speaking not just words, but he's speaking miracles. He's speaking power, and he's speaking hope to the nation. Any person who has listened to Les Brown, you never leave untouched. We are all touched by his voice. I used to go to church as a young boy every Sunday. Used to go to church. I used to walk kilometers going to church. But nothing has touched me like Les Brown's voice. And I appreciate and I thank God. I thank God for it. His life story changed my life and made me to believe that everything is possible.
So that's very powerful and amazing. So you're saying Les Brown's voice is God's voice, and that changed your life?
Definitely, definitely. With no doubt, I believe that his voice it's God's voice. I believe that language on its own, it's a miracle. It's a miracle that comes from God. I mean, at the moment we are able to communicate in one language. We are able to communicate in just words, and they have power and meaning. But his words, they carry more weight and they carry energy. And there's something when Les Brown speaks. I wish I had the opportunity to come and listen to Les Brown when he was in England. And I pray that God keeps him alive and keeps him healthy and strong. I know that he is fighting at the moment. He's fighting cancer, and I know and I believe that he's going to defeat it. And I pray that before his time comes, I pray that I see him one day, and I pray that I speak to him, because I believe he's also one of the servants of God. In Arabic, they say he is Abdullah, meaning he's a servant. He's a servant of God, and may God praise him and raise him and protect him and keep him healthy. Yes.
Thank you very much for sharing from your heart. Thank you very much for sharing your story. And we are very grateful to have you today. We've learned a lot. We've grown a lot through your words, through your motivation, through your inspiration. and that I'm sure is touching all the viewers today, but as well the viewers or people will be watching you after this broadcast. So, Rich, how
Yes.
can people get in touch with you? What can you do for them so that they're able to create their greatest lives?
Thank you very much. First of all, my Facebook page is Rich Shokane. They can hit me on my Facebook page. I'm a speaker. Anyone who wants to book me can just contact me on my Facebook page. We are also working on a multi-million company that is called the New Age Millionaires. It's a consulting company. Also, we offer trainings to the sales people. We offer trainings to speakers. I have a wonderful team of people that I'm working with. Dr. Majola, he's one of the dedicated teachers that I'm working with at the moment. And also, we are also involved in a couple of charity organizations in South Africa. So we are part of the change that is happening. We are part of the change that we want to see. We are just involved and handy in South Africa at the moment. I'll be traveling to Nigeria sometime around September. I'll be traveling to Nigeria, to Lagos, and we are trying to organize an event in Nigeria. We'll be speaking there in Nigeria sometime soon. I'll announce on my Facebook page.
Oh, that is brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing from your heart. Thank you very much for inspiring this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you've just joined us today, I'm talking to Richard Shokane. Richard is from South Africa and is talking live from Johannesburg, and is sharing his story on how his life changed because of the people like Les Brown. How his life changed because of the people like Nelson Mandela that came into his life, and South Africa, and the rest of Africa is a continent that is in his heart, that he holds dear, and is ready to make sure that before he leaves this planet, he's made a difference in the lives of people. So, Richard, I've never been to South Africa, but it has always been my dream to come down to South Africa, and I'm sure one day it will be possible. But one of the things that has inspired about South Africa is the music.
Yes.
And the music, and especially the national anthem is Nkosi Sikelel.
It's Nkosi Sikelel Africa, Maluphakanyisu Pondolayo. Izwa imithandazo yethu Nkosi Sikelel. That's a song of hope. When we sang that song, we were singing that song with hope in our hearts. That one day God is going to listen to our prayers. That one day God is going to liberate us and set us free from the chains of slavery, from the chains of the regime at that time. And we are still fighting. We are still crying, and we are still having that hope in our heart that our people are going to get their land. And I pray that an African man in South Africa will get the dignity that he deserves. At the moment, the argument is there won't be any food security. So what they're saying is that an African man doesn't have the intellect, doesn't have the ability. He is not capable of producing food. In this age and era, in the 21st century, where we have a lot of Africans who are flying, who are pilots, who are doctors, in this 28th century, the age of information, they are still saying that an African cannot take care of the land. If you go to Ethiopia, the engineers of Ethiopia, the people in Ethiopia, are running their airline 100% is owned, it's black owned. And it's the number one airline in Africa, Kenya Airlines. There are a lot of countries that are run by Africans and are successful. But in South Africa, they have doubts in an African man. They say no, he cannot be able to farm his own land. So we are fighting, and that's a fight, but it's a peaceful fight. Remember, we Africans, we are people of peace. Mandela also is a person of peace. The reason why we know Mandela as a person of peace, because he did not encourage any war, any civil war. And even today, I'm saying that we are going to fight this war of land ownership in a very peaceful way. We are going to engage them with logic and perhaps with other things. But war is not in the list. And we have hope, and we believe that one day our people are going to get what they deserve, and they will be treated with the dignity that they deserve. So the national anthem, it's a song of hope. Nothing else but a song of hope.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you'd like to know more about Richard Shokane and his story, get this book, which is Let's Brown Change Our Lives, and his story is in there. Buy his books as well, which is written on entrepreneurship, on new age millionaires, and then you'll be able to create your best life. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure hosting you, Richard, and looking forward to seeing you face to face, but importantly, moving towards greatness together. Thank you.
I thank God for you, Dr. Patrick. And if I can tell you a little secret, remember we spoke earlier this year, and you gave me a chance to write a story to that beautiful book that you have in your hands, of which I believe that people should get themselves a copy on Amazon. It's a powerful book. It has powerful stories in it. And once you get your hands on that book, I believe your life will never be the same. Your life will be different. I think people should try and should get that book. It's a must. It's a must-have. If you have books in your library, this one should also be part of them. Since I spoke to you, Dr. Patrick, I felt like I spoke to Les Brown, because this is the closest I can get to Les Brown. And after having spoken to you, I was actually stuck when writing this book. I was stuck. But after having spoken to you, I felt that anything is possible, and you gave me a jump start. I managed to finish this book, and thank you very much. May God bless you and raise you higher, and give you health in abundance. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, and I'm hearing that from you. But one of the things I'm doing for people, if anyone is interested in writing their story on anyone who changed their lives, it could be children. My children changed my life. It could be parents. My parents changed my life. It could be a neighbor. My neighbor changed my life. It could be a teacher. My teacher changed my life. But as well, it could be a place. England changed my life. India changed my life. America changed my life. It could be a place. I've already talked about place, actually. It could be an animal, for example. My dog changed my life. So I'm putting out a public and a general edition of You Changed My Life, which will be coming out definitely by December. So if you have that great story you need to tell, bring it in. It could be Mandela changed my life, listening the words of Mandela and 27 years in prison and all the struggles that he went through. So if you have any story that you believe you want to share with the world, this is the moment. My goal is to inspire. My goal is to help 1 million people become co-authors with me. So get in touch and get your story published. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Patrick. Have a nice day too.
Thank you. And thank you for watching to all our viewers. It's been great having you. Share this story with the rest of your friends, and I'm sure they'll get something out of this story to help them change their lives. Thank you.